All right, wonderful world history people. Today we're looking at East Asia, which in this case is chapter 13, and that's going to cover three Chinese dynasties: Korea, Vietnam, and Japan. So here is a map of the three Chinese dynasties we're going to look at: the Sui, however you want to call it, which is the green, the Tang, which is outlined in the red, and then the Song Dynasty, which is outlined in the blue. And so just like with the Han Dynasty, the Tang Dynasty goes like way out over here, and that's because of trade and the revitalization of the Silk Road. Okay, here's a timeline of stuff that happens during the dynasties. That way y'all can pause it and go back and look at that. All right, let's talk about the Sui dynasty. It is the shortest of all the Chinese dynasties, 36, 37 years old. And the one important thing that you need to remember about it is, where's my little highlighter? They built the Grand Canal, which is going to connect the Yangtze and Yellow Rivers. It's going to support trade between the North and the South, and it was built using compulsory labor. So all the little peasants had to go and, help build stuff because that's what peasants do. Their dynasty ended due to a rebellion and an assassination of the emperor. Fun fact, he was assassinated by a disgruntled minister. And then, so their dynasty declines, goes away for a while. Then you get the Tang dynasty. Their capital still in Chang'an, still a thing. They ruled based on Confucian principles. Okay, we are still using the civil service exam. That's a thing. They're maintaining transportation and communication networks. They're going to try to distribute land to help give everyone a chance to farm, and that's what the equal field system is. So it's an allocation of agricultural land, and it, like I said, it was supposed to try to help ensure equity and make sure everybody got the right kind of land, but that really didn't work. The Tang dynasty is going to have a tributary relationship with its neighbors, so they set up what's called a tributary system. That's where neighboring states, so the nomads in the north or Korea or Vietnam, are going to have to pay money and provide goods to honor the emperor. Systems later are going to be adopted by the Mongols, and then we'll see it too in the Americas. Careless leadership with the Tang dynasty is going to lead to rebellions. One of the groups from the outside that's going to put pressure on them are the Uyghurs. They're important because they actually showed up on the AP test last year, which was kind of a shock. But the Uyghurs were nomadic Turkish people who were brought into China to help put down the rebellions. And in exchange for helping China put down rebellions, all they wanted was the right to attack and destroy Chang'an when they were done. Doesn't really happen. So they collapse, and you're going to have about a 50-year period where there's lots of fighting, and then you get the Song dynasty that shows up. They consolidate rule after the end of the Tang dynasty. They expand the bureaucracy. They create a centralized government. Again, we're still using the civil service exam. That's going to be a thing for a while. Because they're using the civil service exam and because they have a very large bureaucracy, this is going to cost the empire lots and lots of money. State officials were seen as service to the emperor, and if they were loyal, they were given money. And because they had a huge bureaucracy, that cost them lots of money, so they're not super financially stable. Again, they're using the civil service exam as a meritocracy, so they're giving people jobs based on their ability. In regards to their economy, their trading, they are promoting agriculture, and like I said, their cities are full of people willing to come in and trade. They're trading with anyone who wants to, and because they have a lot of technology, that's going to help their economy. One of the things that's important to know about their economy is something called champa rice. It's a fast ripening rice that you could harvest 2 times a year, so that's going to help feed China's growing population. You are also going to have the invention of something called flying cash, okay, which is paper money. They're also going to use checks. Like I said, economy is really big for them. As far as urbanization, they are going to change the location of their capital to Hangzhou, which is in the southern part of China. And because their population is growing so rapidly, they do start to see problems with that. They had like 115 million people in their empire. So, one thing that they're going to do to help reinforce patriarchy is foot binding. Yay! Weapon feet. And that's the process of breaking the feet so that you can wrap them into these tiny little shoes and try to have like a 3 foot or a 3 inch foot. The Song are known for their technology. They have porcelain, which are like little china cups. You have gunpowder. You have wood block printing. That's going to enable them to mass print stuff. They have a magnetic compass, which they call the south pointing needle. So they're a very pre-industrialized society. They are also going to adopt a new type of philosophy called Neo-Confucianism, which basically is just a mix of Buddhism and Confucianism. So that comes into play. With all their money problems and their instability, they are finally invaded by the Mongols, and we'll talk about them in a couple weeks. Yay, foot binding. Again. So here's another thing so that y'all can pause this and go back and look at the differences between the Sui, Tang, and Song dynasties. Now on to the other East Asia countries. You have Vietnam, which is known as Nam Viet. This is where the Chinese got the champa rice from. And since they're a tribute state of China, they, like Korea, are going to have a really big Chinese influence. They adopt some of their writing characteristics. They're studying Confucianism. Korea, the dynasty you need to know for them is the Silla dynasty. Again, we're adopting Confucianism and a whole lot of other things that are going to make them very, very similar to China. All right, on to Japan. They too implement a lot of Chinese practices because of their proximity to them. At first, they have a centralized government. They're promoting Confucianism and Buddhism, but their main religion was Shintoism, which is like the veneration of nature spirits and stuff like that. All right, the two big time periods for Japan you need to know are the Heian period, which was really a decentralized time period where you have this powerful aristocracy. The emperor was really just a figurehead, but what comes out of the Heian period is the Tale of Genji, which is the very first novel. It was written by a woman. That's pretty much what you need to know. Then you get the medieval period, which is the same time as the medieval period in Europe, headed up by the Kamakura clan. And it's a very decentralized time period where your provincial lords are wielding all the power and authority. There's not really any kind of strict government system, but this is when you're going to get the shoguns who are in power, who are like your military warlords, who have their little samurai that are your hired, paid professional warriors that go around and protect them. Okay, there are some questions for y'all so that y'all can test your knowledge. Like I said, go back, pause it, read them. If you have questions about the answers, ask me or Miss Presley.